I have a statement that I can answer any questions that anybody has. So I landed over at the I drove down to the Lakeland airport and took a helicopter ride over here, and got to see above the where the sinkhole is, and got a better understanding. They've been informing me, but you get a better understanding when you actually see what was going on there and how the water goes. Then we just sat through a briefing with Mosaic and some consultants and Secretary Stevenson and EPA. So everybody was there, and so they sort of explained where they believe the problem is and how they're going to fix it. So Secretary Stevenson is still there going through the explanation of how they're going to fix this. They also went through and explained the flow of water and the additional drills they're welling, or their wells they're drilling, to make sure they capture the water that or the liquid that's going down. So they explained all that. So we clearly have a law with regard to public notification that didn't make sense. There's no common sense in this. And when we have pollution, whether it's a company, whether it's the city, whether it's the county, we have to notify people, and it's the right thing to do. That's why I directed the DEP, Department of Environmental Protection, to do an emergency rule where we'll have prompt notification 24 hours when there's pollution. The public will know, local government will know, basically the media will know when there's pollution, so we can all react to it, and we're all working off of similar information. On top of that, I will go through and work next session to get this codified into law, and also increase the penalties. The penalties need to be severely strengthened. So everybody will be. Now, in this case, DEP was on site within 24 hours, and they've been actively monitoring it. Last week I asked DEP to do two things. One, I wanted them to investigate what happened down in Pinellas County with the sewage spill, and also accelerate their investigation here. If anybody's done anything wrong, we're going to hold them accountable. If there's any fines that are appropriate, we'll do fines. I also asked our Department of Health to assist DEP to make sure all of our water is safe to drink. And the most important thing, I think, for all of us is, my family lives here, is that all of our water is safe to drink. We expect everybody in our state to have healthy or safe water, and that's my expectation also. But bottom line is, if we find a rule or regulation or law that doesn't make sense, we're going to actively work to fix it. We did that here with this this emergency rule. We're going to have public notification within 24 hours of any pollution, and we're going to keep everybody informed. I'll be glad to answer any question anybody has.
Governor, was there anything that Mosaic could have done that they didn't do?
Well, that's, we have an ongoing investigation. We'll find that out as we go through the investigation. If there's something that that you could do, they should have done differently. So that's part of the investigation. And there's active investigation by DEP.
Governor, when did you find out about this water loss
Jerry
incident?
can get you the timeline of when we did it, so it's accurate.
24 hours after it happened?
She'll get the exact timeline, so I say it right. So Governor, she'll get you the exact timeline.
Governor, what of all the problems, radioactivity, chemicals, what concerns you the most about the environmental impact?
Well, the first thing, the most important thing, of course, is safe drinking water. So it's two things. One, the most important thing is safe drinking water, right? That's absolutely the most important thing. But the other thing is, we ought to know this promptly. All of us ought to know. There ought to have been public notification right away. That's an outdated law, and so that's why we did the emergency rule.
Governor, last week your office issued one of your setting the record straight statements defending DEP's performance on this, and now you're saying we need to change the law. What changed? What convinced you to make these changes?
Well, I mean, if you follow it, DEP followed the existing law. The law is outdated. Bottom line is the law is outdated. There should have been public notification promptly. That's why I directed them to do the emergency rule of 24 hours. So my experience in business and my experience in this job is it's no different. We just had Hurricane Ermine, and we say to ourselves afterwards, okay, so what can we do better? I mean, as you all know, I wanted power to get back up faster. So is there something that all of us can do better? So one thing I'm going to do there is try to get all the utilities to get to know each other, because in that case, the co-ops know each other, the public utilities know each other, and the 4 big publicly traded companies know each other. They all know each other and share resources.
Governor, would this law apply to the DEP?
Well, will it apply to DEP? The way it'll actually work is this: let's say it's a company, or whether say it's a city, they will make a public notification to you, the media. On top of that, they will make a notification through DEP, and then DEP clearly will be held accountable to make sure that it gets out.
So, but the DEP does not notify the public.
There was no existing rule to require. That's what doesn't make sense.
But morally, should they have notified the public?
Well, if you go back and think about it, the reason we're doing this is the public should know. I mean, it's an outdated law. It's our rule. It doesn't make sense. It's no different than the fines. The fines don't make sense. We had the same issue. We tried to work to increase the fines on drilling, oil drilling down close to where I live in Collier County, because the existing fine just doesn't make any sense.
But that law didn't say DEP shouldn't notify the public, did it?
Well, look, the bottom line is, we're going to have notification. We're going to do it within 24 hours. Companies, cities, counties are all going to do it. It's the right thing to do.
Governor, Mosaic has apologized to the public for not telling people. Should the DEP apologize also?
What I'm focused on is, let's make sure we go forward, we do the right thing. Let's make sure we have public notification. Everybody knows what the rules are now. We have an emergency rule. That's why I directed DEP to do it. They're going to make sure the public knows promptly, and then we're doing exactly what we're doing now. Is we're going to monitor it and figure out how to make sure it doesn't impact. Do everything we can to make sure it doesn't impact water quality.
Was the change in the law your idea, or
Okay.
did it come from Secretary Stevens?
I directed DEP to do it.
Governor, did you learn anything new today?
I've never been to this plant, so just how it works is I've never seen how a phosphate plant works
What
before.
about the incident and the pollution and the environmental?
One thing
Did you learn anything new?
Yeah, one thing they informed me of how many more wells they're going to drill, and so that was in conjunction with DEP and Mosaic deciding how many wells need to be drilled to where we can monitor, because it's real. I mean, we have got to constantly be monitoring this so it doesn't impact water quality. And they're explaining how they're very comfortable that they can, and we'll monitor to make sure, but they believe they can, through these wells, pull up all the water that has drained from the sinkhole.
Governor Robin has a question. Oh, I just wanted to know what it looked like, 'cause we can't go and look. So, was it as big as a swimming pool? Was it?
Here's what they said. I'll tell you what it looks like, and then here's what they said. It looks like, so the way it was explained to me, there's these layers. Okay, they have this. I guess it's a polyurethane layer that's supposed to hold.
The liner.
Liner, liner is supposed to hold. And so he said that was breached, but it's just like it's like they think it's a total of possibly, and the biggest is maximum is 45 feet, which is 15 yards, I guess, or about 15 yards wide. But what you see is it's just like a if you ever been to the beach where you see water just draining down into the sand, that's what it looks like. It looks like just it's all messed up, but you can see seepage. They explained to me that they'll continue to seep because they pumped out all the water they could. The gypsum that surrounds it has moisture in that, so that'll continue to have some seepage there. And then if it rains, they'll have some others. But the other thing they explained, which was interesting, is the flow of the water. But what they're doing is they've got a lot of wells all around here to test, but they're also adding more wells around just to make sure that they can continue to test. And they said they're about 2.5 miles away from a property, their closest property owner where the water would flow. But they also have wells on the opposite. If they're wrong, they got wells over there too.
Governor, did DEP keep you in the dark? And if so, are you going to fire Secretary Stevens?
Well, we're in the middle of an ongoing investigation. I'm not going to fire Secretary Stevenson based on anything I know today. He followed the law. But look, the bottom line is this. The bottom line is we have a law that's outdated. We need to know. the public, needs to know immediately if there's pollution. That's the bottom line is, when we see something that's messed up, we ought to fix it. That's what I did in my business life, and that's what I'm doing right after Irvine. I've learned in Irvine that our public utilities co-ops and the municipal utilities, don't know each other well enough. We're going to take this and we're going to change.
We'll take one more.
Should this affect should this affect Moet and Mosaic's pursuit of other permits for expanding their phosphate operation?
Well, look, I think what you always do is, when anything happens, you always step back and say to yourself, okay, so what can we do better? Is there something we need to learn from this? I mean, I ask a bunch of questions there, and one, I'm learning some things because I'd never been to this plant before. So I think you always step back. Everybody always steps back and you learn. I'm sorry.
My understanding, if I'm reading the numbers correctly, is that DEP's budget has been reduced over the years. Do they have the money necessary to do enforcement or investigations related to this?
They have all the funds they need.
Thanks,
Governor,
everyone.
what did they tell
Thanks,
you
everybody.
about the